Let's talk about what just dropped in the Times, because beneath the polite language, the careful phrasing, and the traditional restraint of royal reporting, there is a story doing something very powerful. It is quietly, methodically confirming what many people have suspected for years. Meghan Markle is done. Not temporarily, not emotionally overwhelmed, not waiting for the right moment. She is finished. Fully, permanently done. And for a lot of people reading this, the reaction isn't shock. It's recognition. And honestly, relief. The headline alone carries an unmistakable finality. Meghan has no plans to see her father, Thomas Markle, again. There are no euphemisms here. No anonymous sources suggesting reconciliation might still be possible. No dangling threads for tabloids to tug on. No manufactured hope to keep the story alive. This is not a pause. This is not distance. This is closure. And before the predictable chorus starts accusing Meghan of being cold, unforgiving, or heartless, it's important to slow down and actually examine what this article reveals and what it confirms. Because this is not a story about a daughter abandoning her father. It is a story about a father who abandoned his responsibilities, ignored repeated chances for repair, and then chose to monetize the wreckage. According to the Times, Meghan has officially given up hope of reconciliation after years of one-sided effort. Years marked not by silence, but by humiliation, by betrayal, by deeply personal pain being turned into public currency, by a relentless pattern of media exploitation that never stopped, even when she begged for it to. Yes, this decision arrives in the shadow of Thomas Markle's recent health crisis surgery for a blood clot in his leg that resulted in an amputation, with recovery taking place in a hospital in the Philippines. And typically, this is where tabloids rush in with emotional pressure. This is where audiences are nudged toward guilt, where illness is used as a moral cudgel. But the Times disrupts that script by laying out an inconvenient truth. Meghan did not ignore this moment. She did not turn her back when it would have been easiest to do so. When she learned about the surgery on December 3rd, she reached out directly. She sent an email. Then she followed up with a hand-delivered letter, not a public statement, not a press leak, not a proxy message. A private, direct, deeply personal letter. In that letter, Meghan explained her feelings. She explained her pain. And crucially, she explained why their relationship broke down in the first place. Not because of palace interference, not because of Prince Harry, not because of fame. The reason was clear, consistent, and documented. Thomas Markle's repeated media interviews, his cooperation with paparazzi, and his willingness to sell access to his daughter's private life. This isn't speculation. This isn't interpretation. This is a pattern that has played out in public for years. And what did Thomas Markle do with this opportunity, perhaps the final opportunity for genuine reconciliation? He did nothing. No response to the email. No response to the letter, no private outreach, no attempt to speak directly to his daughter. Yet somehow he still found time, energy and clarity to speak to the Daily Mail not once, but repeatedly. This is the point where public sentiment has fundamentally shifted. People are no longer buying the idea that Meghan is distant or cruel. They are seeing the imbalance clearly. Meghan deleted her father's phone number 7 years ago because she feared that anything she said would be leaked to the press. And when you look at his history, leaking private letters, staging paparazzi photos, contradicting her pleas for privacy, that fear wasn't paranoia. It was lived experience. At some point, the benefit of the doubt expires. Now, compare Meghan's behaviour in this final chapter with Thomas Markle's. Meghan sends private communication. Thomas Markle invites a Daily Mail journalist to his hospital bedside. He offers emotional quotes. He provides updates. He allows himself to be photographed and framed as the tragic, abandoned father. Then he escalates it further by appealing publicly through the Mail on Sunday, the very same outlet that helped publish Meghan's private letter years ago, begging her to visit him before he dies. Not privately, not through family channels, publicly, through tabloids. Let's be clear about what that is. That is not reconciliation. That is theatre. And this is exactly why so many people, especially women, estranged adult children, and those who have navigated toxic family relationships, are not condemning Meghan. They are applauding her, because they recognize the pattern instantly. If Thomas Markle truly wanted reconciliation, he would have answered the letter. He would have chosen privacy over publicity. He would have shut the media out and spoken directly to his daughter. He did none of those things. The Times article also reminds readers of a sobering reality that often gets lost in the noise. Thomas Markle has never met Prince Harry. He has never met Archie. He has never met Lilibet. He missed Meghan's wedding in 2018, a moment he later admitted he sabotaged by staging paparazzi photos and lying about it. And yet, despite all of this, Meghan has been expected to extend grace endlessly, to absorb betrayal quietly, to keep reopening wounds in the name of appearances. What the Times does so effectively is dismantle the myth that Meghan cut her father off without explanation. She explained, she communicated, she warned, she reached out, and every time he chose the press. The article also draws a sharp and telling contrast between Thomas Markle and Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland. Doria has remained present in Meghan's life without selling interviews, without leaking private moments, without positioning herself as a victim in tabloids. The difference has never been access. The difference is respect. And now we come to the reaction, because this is where the narrative truly collapses for Meghan's harshest critics. Across social media, podcasts, comment sections, and even among audiences traditionally skeptical of Meghan, the response has been overwhelmingly supportive. People aren't shocked, they're relieved. They're saying, finally. They're saying, good for her. They're saying what should have been obvious all along. You cannot fix a relationship when only one person is trying. So many people see themselves in this story. Adult children who wrote letters that were ignored. People whose private pain was made public without consent. People who were guilt-tripped publicly while being stonewalled privately. For them, Meghan's decision isn't cruel, it's brave. There is also a growing cultural recognition happening here, the understanding that reconciliation is not a moral obligation when the other party refuses accountability. Meghan's story sits right at the centre of that shift. Even people who don't follow royal news closely are saying the same thing. If he can speak to the Daily Mail, he can speak to his daughter. And that truth is inescapable. Illness does not excuse exploitation. Age does not justify betrayal. And being a parent does not entitle you to access when you have repeatedly abused it. What's especially striking about this reporting is its calm finality. There's no hysteria, no palace intrigue, no emotional manipulation, just a clear statement of fact. Meghan has accepted that reconciliation isn't possible, and that acceptance matters. Because closure doesn't always come with forgiveness or reunion. Sometimes it comes with boundaries. Sometimes it comes with letting go of the hope that someone will change when they have shown you repeatedly that they won't. Meghan has a family now, a husband who protects her. 2 young children who deserve peace, safety, and stability. A life that does not need to revolve around managing the chaos of someone who consistently chooses profit over privacy. And the public sees that now. They see a woman who tried. They see a pattern that never changed. They see a door that wasn't slammed shut in anger, but quietly closed in self-respect. So yes, people are applauding Meghan's decision, not because they lack empathy, but because they recognize reality. Thomas Markle made his choice a long time ago. Meghan simply stopped pretending he hadn't. And with this Times exclusive, the fantasy that this is all just an unresolved misunderstanding has finally been laid to rest. Everything else is noise. That's it for today's video. If you've made it this far, you're truly a love fanatic. Love should not be a scandal. Prince Harry and Meghan deserve peace. Thank you for sharing your thoughts in the comments and for supporting the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.